Guys, if I'm honest with you, that's what we call a dominant Giallorossi win. What is going on? I'm excited. Roma have established themselves in third place by 3 points. It was a win, which going into this game, I was a little afraid. I'm thinking Roma's going to be tired from that match against Feyenoord. Our captain is going to be a little down in the dumps. But what do we get today is a complete team performance and one that honestly the players can unite around going into Thursday's all important match. But I will say, when it comes to getting into the Champions League right now, that of course is Roma's objective. I think the easier way, honestly, is by finishing in the top four in Serie A. You don't want to go into this banking on the fact that you will win the Europa League. Of course, that would be beautiful. That would be nice. And the streets of Rome would be flooded and insane. But I think this is, and I have to imagine that you agree too, that this is Roma's best chance of getting into the Champions League is the top four, right? We don't know what's going to happen with Juventus. Let's see. We've got Milan coming up on the 29th. That's also your boy's birthday, so they better win. We got Atalanta next week. I believe we also have Inter Milan before the end of the season. So things are going to get pretty intense pretty quickly. And first thing I want to point out, thanks for coming in, guys. Throw a like up there immediately. But then look right down here, that one. Nel bene o nel malo, il capitano rimane tale. The captain remains so. In the good or the bad, this is your captain. And I think that speaks volumes today. So let me just look here at some comments real quick as we're getting in. And I'm glad to see everybody. Let me know how the audio is. As you could notice, I'm in a little bit of a different background. My mother-in-law's today. We're visiting family, but the show must go on, right? So let me see. Any updates on Dybala? He should be back for Feyenoord. It's not looking as bad as it was, Ragav. But Abraham, we see him after. I thought he was going to be out for like 2 weeks, Abraham. He gets in there and gets the goal today. He gets the third goal. And as Mourinho says, perfect confidence building the game for so many players. And yeah, this is one also heavy rotation again, right? Llorente gets in there. Bove, Eduardo Bove. If I told you that that this was going to be a game where he comes in, I don't think you would have any of us would have really thought that. You know, the odds makers put that in or whatever. So almost perfect. I see Marco throwing in there. I'm going to get to that one. And wait to go Roma today. Yes, Paul, how are you, my man? Need this for Thursday. Buzzing. Yeah, and I feel it too. I feel excited over this. I feel like we could rally over it. You know, some Sundays, some Saturdays, we're left frustrated. But this is not one of those days. This is one where Roma showed so much maturity. They showed that they were big boys at this time, and they started to put things together. And, you know, we've spoken from when we started this YouTube over the summer, right? And we've also always gone with this mentality of, okay, it's a project, because that's what we're told, right? And that's what we see from the management from top to bottom. When you hire Jose Mourinho, this looks like it's part of a project, right? And that's the moniker. But right now, we're in it. You really see it. You got the Europa League last year, the Conference League, sorry. This year, you're still in it to get to the semifinals in the Europa League. You're in third place with plus 3 points over Milan. There's a lot going for Roma right now, and they're playing super pragmatic football. This is 13th clean sheet in 2023. The team is, I'm really happy with them. And as I use the word happy, Youssef also says I'm happy for Pellegrini, and totally here. And yes, a lot to talk about. Best season, best performance of the season, Vincent says. Perhaps it very well could be today the best performance of the season. Pellegrini scored an open play goal. That might be Joe. That might be his first in over like a year and a half, I think. I think his last goal from open play came November 2021. Could be wrong about that, but I know it's been a really long time. Marco comes in and says, this game was almost perfect. Phenomenal team performance. I would like us to control the game more, but I've got no objections. So if we think of Udinese, a team that beat us 4-0 in the first leg in Udine, 4-0. Not much has changed within that team. The only thing that has changed, though, is that Roma has grown up a lot and is playing a lot better football than they used to. Deulofeu, he's been so much colder than he used to be. Odogie had one or two opportunities today. He was a bit problematic, but the defense did very well in containing him. Bone was in the right spot at the right time. Pellegrini is captain. I love after John Terry. So professional he is. So one thing that we're talking about and why I have this banner below is when it comes to Pellegrini, think about how tough this has been for him on social media. missing that penalty. And he also has to live in Rome. Don't forget, like, this guy does leave his house, and you can bet people come up to him all the time. And it's been, I have to imagine, so hard for him around his teammates as well after him missing that penalty and Roma go on to lose, right? But he comes in and he gives probably his best performance of the season today. And a really great goal, I have to say, great team goal, as we keep using that word, team play and team goal, comes up from Wijnaldum, who opens up the space, and Belotti, of all players, who plays in a beautifully threaded through ball there for him. Let's keep on going. Bove, yes, Bove gets that goal, and I was glad for him. As I said earlier, Marco says, players are fine, no need to throw them under the bus. They need to play more offensively. Ali steps in, says, hi, Wayne, just tuning in. Happy Sunday. Congrats. This is indeed a great day. It is sure a great day to be a Romanista. And Matt Pellegrini with a great game today. I was calling for him to start. There we go. Zalewski, atrocious defensively, shouldn't start next game. I think we found a solution here, and one I think that most fans recognized. I don't know why Mourinho was a little bit late to the party here, but Selic offers so much more defensive balance across that back three, back five, whatever it might be, given the tactic, if they're attacking or they're defending at the moment. But when it comes to Feyenoord, right, I think that if Roma get that early goal, even to start the match, I think Selic is a much better starter at this moment in time. And especially if Roma go up 2-0 or 2-1, and, it becomes, you got to go to added time and extra time, whatever. And it comes down to penalty kicks, but I think that Selic is the best option there. Bongani, what's up, man? Says, very impressed with Llorente again. Think he should start over Ibanez on Thursday. So calm in defense and less mistake prone. It's true. Llorente, you can't hide the fact this guy is so calm. He's really been a beautiful addition coming in January. And I give my hat off to Thiago Pinto for getting this kid out of nowhere. And he's hardly put a foot wrong. And very happy with him. Vince says, not only did Pellegrini break his curse, but so did Tammy and Rui. Yes, Tammy. Also with that headed goal at the end across from Spinazzola. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but this is Pellegrini's 100th appearance wearing the captain's armband. We need victories like this, old-time Roma. I hope Gini injury not too serious. Need him Thursday. Yeah. Wijnaldum was one of the, I don't want to say few bright spots. He was one of the brighter spots against Feyenoord. I thought it was a decent game by Roma. They deserved to win. But once Wijnaldum came on, he changes the complexion of the team. They just play so much more dynamic, and they have such a different look to them under Gini for sure. And they play so much better football, in my opinion. Rui Patricio, yeah, let's give it up to Rui, who stopped this game from going to 2-1 and giving Udinese a lot of motivation, which they could have gotten off of that goal. Makes the stop to his right, and it's an excellent one. So it's a match actually where 2 penalties were missed, and I'm interested to see the stat on when the last time in Serie A 2 penalties were missed from a penalty from both teams in the same game. Okay, I'm going to keep going through these before we get to the timeline of today. The right back issue is very apparent. Any updates on Wijnaldum? Nothing yet. I will be checking as this episode goes along. And yes, 13 clean sheets in 2023. And Vincent says, got to give credit to Cristante as well. His head injury looked bad, but he was able to carry on and play amazingly. I don't know if I would have put Cristante as my penalty kick taker after succumbing that injury. I don't think that was the most well thought out decision there. But let's take a look right now at our starting formation, at Roma's starting formation to go into this one. Let me get the banner off of out of your way here. I should say the comment. And we could see, I'm going to get closer to the camera. We've got a back three of Mancini, Smalling, Diego Llorente, and then across the 4, Selic, Cristante, Wijnaldum, and El Shaarawy. El Shaarawy acting very defensively low, as is Roma's entire defense for most of this game, compressed into a low block, which helped feed Udinese forward and Roma to get on the break, which is where many of their moments came on, as well as with free kicks. We know that Roma is really dangerous from dead ball situations. But then, this is a little wrong here. This should not be a trident up top. Bove should be slotted next to Wijnaldum and Cristante, with Wijnaldum in attack getting a little bit more forward, and Pellegrini and Belotti linking up more as like a tandem up top rather than the front three that you see here. And El Shaarawy also, I thought, put in a really athletic performance today. Given those defensive responsibilities, he replies to Mourinho's requests and is that force who drives forward on the flank. And I keep saying this, and the fans are really happy with El Shaarawy this season. Not enough good things you could say about El Faraone this season. And I'm really hoping that he continues, the majority of what's left of his career in Rome. Really would like to see that for him. But Udinese, right? Let's take a look at this. We've got Isaac Success up there, the number 7. And at times he was a bit troubling for Roma. And then we got Pereira. Isaac also should have been sent off, I should say, for pushing. Who was it? He pushed Gianluca Mancini in the chest. He should have been given a red card for that. Lovric Wallace, who's been with Udinese for quite a while now. Samardzic, yes, who was pretty much the gateway for Udinese, trying to get forward. He received a lot of passes, a lot of front-facing passes as well. I saw in the stats that popped up. And Isibue, Nathan Perez out there, who I believe used to play for Atletico Madrid, Biol, and Bacquiao, Brazilian, I'm assuming, with that Portuguese last name. So Udinese, as we look through this team, right, not impressive compared to seasons past. And I wonder what happens now as this team gets older. Not just age, but I mean, whereas time goes on and the rest of Serie A gets better, teams like Udinese and Sampdoria that had been with Serie A for a fortnight at this point, I feel like they're going to go down. I think Bari gets bought out, hopefully by James Pallotta, which would be so interesting going into next season. I saw that report come up. But if Udinese and Samp and teams like Genoa, you saw it with them, they went down. Genoa is going to be hard-pressed to get back up to Serie A. So I don't know if teams can really get away with these, with these half-hearted lineups. They're not great. They're below average. Udogie is going to Tottenham. This is his last year with them. He was kept 1 year on loan with his parent club before joining Tottenham. He will do that this summer. So long-term, I don't know for Udinese. It's looking tough for them. But let's look at some statistics as well. That doesn't roll off my tongue so kindly. Shots 12 and 7 of those on target for Roma. And then we see only 2 on target for Udinese there. Possession, mostly Udinese, and that's typical of a Mourinho team. Pass accuracy was a lot. This isn't a great stat because accuracy is often really high with teams who play horizontally, and that's what Udinese did with most of their possession when they had it. Fouls, we see a bunch coming over from Roma, 1 yellow card, 2 offside, so nothing else to really say about that, I don't think. But on to Pellegrini, and we've got this bumper right here, this little image. Let me know what you think about going into Feyenoord. Should Pellegrini get the start? And if so, I think you're going to probably say yes after this game. What is Pellegrini's best position? Where does he most fit in to a Jose Mourinho formation? Tell me that right now in the comments. Go ahead. Start scribbling. Okay, I'm going to get back to some comments in the meantime, too, before we do the entire timeline of this game. So, very physical game. Paul says, very physical. Yes, it sure was. And you get that against these bottom half teams, is where they're short in quality. They often make up for it with heart and effort. I'm going to keep moving down here. If I missed any, I don't think I missed any. Yeah, Cristante was a beast today, as Marco says. And Cristante has really improved the second half of the season, right? At times, he's frustrated me the first half of the season for sure. Made some interesting passes, ones I don't think I would have made. But he's really emerged as this guy that the rest of the team depend on, and that Mourinho's ball is often simple at times, and you need a guy who just plays simple and can occasionally ping the long ball, and that's what Cristante really offers for this team. Vincent says Beto got injured in the warm-ups, and honestly, that was a huge factor to the game. Yeah, that's a good shout there, Vincent. I actually forgot about Beto for a hot second, and he was a really tough guy to play against last season. I doubt that he stays with Udinese for long. Did this game remind you of last year's game? Which one, Marco? Are you talking about the 4-0 where Udinese beat us in Udine, or maybe from last season? And if so, remind me what that scoreline was. Ragav says, if Wijnaldum is fit and playing, Celik will start at Feyenoord. We're better attacking from that side. It would be a defensive four while starting with Spinazzola getting more forward. And also says, Bongani says that Belotti assist was top stuff. Great vision. Surprised he played it. Yeah, me too a little bit. I was like, wait, who played that? It was the perfect ball. Also, is Dybala the only one capable of scoring a penalty on this team? I think El Shaarawy should take penalties. I know that he used to. I've heard that in training. He's really good at them. And I've seen like videos and stuff of that. Also, El Shaarawy was a striker, an out-and-out striker, before he converted to a winger. When he played at Milan, often deployed as a center forward. So I'm not sure why that didn't continue. I think it's because of his speed, to be honest, is that sometimes if you're only good at one thing, you're going to play there no matter what. But if you can do a couple decent things correctly, then, you know, your coach starts to put you around. That happened to me, maybe you as well. Like my coach, because I was decently quick as a teenager, would always put me at right mid, all the way on the right of a 4-4-2. You know who plays to the right-sided player when you're playing a 4-4-2? Absolutely nobody. So I would never get the ball, and it was frustrating just because, you know, I had speed. So I wonder if that's something what has happened to El Shaarawy throughout this. The context of this game, Ali says, was huge as the 3 points. No Dybala. Belotti hasn't been great. There were question marks around Pellegrini. And yeah, before I continue this, the rest of this comment here, winning without Dybala is not something that Roma has done too many times throughout this season. In fact, they've had a negative record without him when you incorporate draws into that as well. There were question marks around Pellegrini. We couldn't underestimate Udinese. We showed character. Yes. Winger playmaker. Brahim says about Lorenzo Pellegrini's best position. And Vincent says, I think right next to Dybala in the attacking mid. And Marco switches it up, says he's a deep-lying playmaker or a regista. I kind of got to go with Marco here. I like Pellegrini as a regista, somebody who can get into it and play it. But to be honest, his best, I feel like, was with Di Francesco, where he played as an intermedio in one of his three-man midfields, somebody who would make deep runs along the flanks and also somebody who could drop. And so Di Francesco's tactics were interesting because when the winger dropped, who was like Berardi, Pellegrini would make that run in, which is why he had so many decent goals in that time with Sassuolo. So I think where Pellegrini is in a bit of a deeper spot, but he can make runs, is an advantageous role to him. When it comes to being on the wing, I feel like sometimes he loses what his best attributes are. I don't know if it completely plays to his strengths. Roman says, I don't know if you already spoke about it, but do you think Pellegrini plays better when Dybala is not available? They do step on their toes, but I don't think that's an excuse because Mourinho has to figure that out, how they can coexist best. You've had players who have similar skill sets. Take Cassano and Totti in the past. Those guys were the best together. They were perhaps one of the best duos Italian football has ever seen, yet somewhat similar. Guys who liked to dribble at times, but also were very smart, not necessarily speedsters like Cristiano Ronaldo, but in a way, they figured it out because they were both great players and had high football IQ. So that's what we need Pellegrini and Dybala to do, is to build more of a bromance in the future. Vincent says, Tammy can also take penalties, don't forget. And Marco says, I meant that the way we played this game reminds me of last year's game. Oh, yeah, true. Like the way that we are playing, it is reminiscent for sure. Because there was that drop in quality in the beginning of this season. But now, like Marco says, we're getting back to, Roma is getting back to, I got to stop saying we. I'm not on the Roma payroll. But as a fan, right? But Roma are really playing so much better. And Collins says, I believe Karsdorp can also play in the right back. Yes, when he's back, Collins. Unfortunately, Karsdorp is out the remainder of the season. Oh, don't worry, Alex. He's here. Maybe Pellegrini should try the number 9 role for his last touches. Interesting, right? Marcus says, interesting or good point, Ali. Dybala and Pellegrini kind of play the same position. And any Mourinho comments? Well, I'm going to check real quick. And Ruben says, his star was great, but what did he achieve for AS Roma? Jose's style is the best, folks. What do you mean his star? Maybe history? I'm not sure what you meant with that one, but that's okay. Jose's style is not for everyone, but for Roma, they've been really growing into it. And I know Marco, our longtime resident of this YouTube not in love with with Mourinho, but I think he's really coming around because one thing we can say is that this team was really fluid today, fluid defensively, organized, played as a team, and just great, great dominant win over Udinese. I'm gonna check real quick, just with my overlays here. So we worked through the starting lineup. We did correct. We look at Pellegrini. We took a look at this banner. Some statistics here, and also let's look right now at the leaderboard. Let's see if I can actually take this. What do you call it? Like when I make the computer look. Present. That's the word I'm looking for. Present. Share screen. Yes. Let's do that. Oh no, it won't let me. Yes, it will. There we go. Okay, 1 second. There we go. So you'll see right here, we've got the rest of the games throughout this weekend. I've never used this feature. This is actually pretty useful as you scroll with me. Also, guys, I think 37 people in the chat now. This is excellent. Thank you for joining me. Throw a like up there and a subscribe, especially if you're new to this channel. We break down every Roma game, previews, shorts throughout the week, and all good stuff right there. And that is my promo for the day. But Cremonese beats Empoli. That was a snoozer. I watched that entire match. Empoli had nothing in attack. Baldanzi couldn't do it by himself. Caputo is a shadow of his former self. Spezia falls to Lazio away. They're dominant this season, man. Lazio's very good, and they're in second place right now. Bologna ties Milan. A big draw for Thiago Motta's men, who last time I checked were in 8th, but they could be even higher now. We'll check the standings right after this. And that was very much a Milan B team. They didn't have their best players, and I think they only had maybe like 2 or 3 of their starters. Napoli stumble again against Verona. Not a good look for Spalletti, but don't worry. They'll get it across the finish line. They're going to be the Scudetto winners. Inter fall at the San Siro to Monza. Wow. I wonder what the bookmaker odds were on that one. I'm going to say that's a big payout. But Lecce Sampdoria is pareggiata, is a draw. We've got, like I said, guys, I don't know about the future for Samp. Torino Salernitana 1-1, the team that Roma beat last week. Salernitana earns a pretty important draw, I'm going to say, away there. And Ochoa has been lights out. Have you seen some of the saves the Mexican keeper has been making? Guys, he's sick. Sassuolo come away with a win over Juventus. I believe that was an own goal or a penalty for Fagioli, Nicolo Fagioli. And we still got Fiorentina-Atalanta to round out this one tomorrow. So looking into next week, too, I'll just scroll through this. You want to take a look here about what we've got coming up. And it looks like the marquee matchup is Atalanta-Roma. Now, I would say typically Juve-Napoli, but Juve is not going to get back into the Champions League places without those 15 points. They're going to play hard, but Napoli can kind of just play for a draw and ride out the remainder of these games, I think. And, they're going to pick up a few wins in that time. And that'll be enough to get them the Scudetto. But the big one, of course, is Roma's match away in Bergamo. And that's Monday, April 24th at 2:45 p.m. for me, or 8:45 p.m. Italian time. But let's look at those standings right now. Let's do that. And there you go. 56 points Roma in third, 61, so 5 points behind Lazio. However, 3 points ahead of Milan. So even if Roma were to lose against Milan, I don't think they're going to. They would still be in an advantageous position, hopefully by that time, following the match against Atalanta. But then we've got Inter, who are really struggling. I mean, look at that form. That's their last 5. 4 losses, 1 draw, and even Milan. I mean, 3 draws and 1 loss. Roma's really getting lucky. But now we see also with Roma's last 5 here, guys, 3 wins. 3 wins off the back after those 2 defeats to end that run of 5. And Lazio, the most informed team in Italy. Or actually, you could probably say that's Fiorentina too, when you look at just the top 5 here. But Fiorentina have been on a serious tear this year in 2023. And it's good to see Vincenzo Italiano pushing them, right? Because they're still fighting in the Conference League. They're going to advance in that after beating Poznan 4-1 away. So Fiorentina could very well go on and win the Conference League. That would be cool. I would want them to win. I think that's a good thing for them and for Italian football. I'm not going to hate on them. No, Fiorentina, go do your thing. Italiano's a decent coach. They got a good group of players. and it would be good for the city of Florence. Like they need a little something for them, right? We got to share it. We got to share. Can't keep the Conference League all to ourselves. So let's see if they can go out and pull that one. So let's get to the comments. Some more comments as this keeps going on. And we played our best game of the season, man. Or Marco says, best of the season. Played a great game today. Yes. Don't worry, Marco says, I'm here. And Paul says, I hope we're this happy Thursday. Yeah, man. I'm really hoping so, Paul. And I hope to see you soon at Roma Club New York as well. Okay. Frank checks in. Frank Jiang says, so happy for Tammy and Pellegrini. It took so long to end their scoring drought in the league. And Paul says, why am the only one throwing up a like? Yeah, good question, Paul. Thank you. Jose's hard work is bearing fruit. Sure is. Immobile was in a car accident in Rome today. Yeah, he was. Immobile very lucky that he was in a Land Rover Defender, which is one of the biggest vehicles on the road, especially when it comes to being in Italy, where typically people drive really small cars compared to American ones. And his Defender was crushed. It was really scary to see that. But thank God that Immobile was okay. Put sport aside for a second, you know. Ali says, I think it's one thing to define Pellegrini's optimal position, but his role, quote unquote, within that position is going to demand great chemistry with Dybala and others for it to remain optimal or yielding. True. And Jose confirms Dybala will be there on Thursday. What about Aouar and Indica? I was watching Indica. I didn't know much about him. So yesterday I took some time and checked out this soon-to-be free agent. Yo, massive, 6'4", excellent one-on-one in the air. This is a player I would love to have in Rome, guys. Especially Aouar, somebody who connects the dots from midfield to the attack, plays in small places, likes to play on the half space, get the ball, which is like right before in the wide space, you know, in like, if this is the middle of the pitch and you've got your wide space here, right in between it, that's your half space. That's where Aouar likes to receive it and then make things happen from there, either quick play and passing, interchanging with teammates, or by some diagonal runs to advance the ball with his feet. Ali says, Wayne, your content creating style has grown tremendously. Thank you, man. I also like how we as an audience are part of the content and that your philosophy is to endorse meaningful conversations. Yo, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you, Ali. I'm going to save that one. I might even just take a little screenshot of that. I'm going to smile for the camera. There we go. The screenshot. Rocco says, great game. I can't help but notice that while Dybala has been great individually, he doesn't really raise the level of his mates. Meanwhile, Pellegrini, Tammy, and Zaniolo all dipped as soon as Dybala arrived. But Dybala is an incredible player. He's elite. And I think that if Dybala plays a certain way, it's because that's what's gotten him that far. And Dybala, some of his best qualities are taking players one-on-one, and the team has to react to how to play with that. Is Dybala somebody who's going to play as a system player? Not necessarily. He's a free player the way that Lionel Messi often is. Like, he'll drift away from space. Watch Dybala next time. He'll drift away from the rest of the action. If the ball is on the left, he'll just find himself on the right, chilling, knowing that once his teammates get it, the tactic is to get the ball, switch it over, and then let the magic happen. And I think with a player like this, you got to give him that creative freedom. But does he get the best out of his opponents? I think he should. Like, he played so many balls into Tammy 2 games ago where the striker just didn't read it. So I think if Dybala is playing with a certain player, and if those players adjust to him, that's when Roma can really take a step up to the next level. And Matt says, do you think we can produce offensively on Thursday? We're going to have to, man. We're going to have to. If Dybala is there or not, it's going to take a lot of heart, a lot of character, something deep down to beat this Feyenoord. But you know what? We're going to have over 61,000 fans again, like Roma did today. I think the complete number was 61,015 fans. And the Kurva is going to be totally up for it. So I'm hoping that the entire team feeds off of that and opportunities come through that motivation. And Chetan notices this schedule, which is Atalanta, Milan, and Feyenoord. Feyenoord being the one closest on Thursday. Daya Wayne, yes, man. What's up? I love your profile picture, by the way. Where is that? It looks really beautiful. Sufyan says, What I would like is having a big player come in and not losing him for 60% of the season, where we could have been with Genie for the whole season. Yeah, it's a bummer. And I always think about that, right? Like if we had Wijnaldum for this entirety, then Roma would be in a different position, I think. Maybe some of those games which were 0-0 or 1-0 would have been a draw, would have been a win when you have a player of that caliber. Because Wijnaldum's a champ, guys. Liverpool, PSG, forget PSG. Look back at Feyenoord when he was with them. There's somebody I'm forgetting in between Feyenoord and Liverpool, I think. If you want to fact check that for me, throw that in there. Wayne, I said Dybala has been great, individually talented, but something is off for all three players around him. For Pellegrini, looked great today. Hope Mourinho figures this out. I'm hoping, like I said, that they all build chemistry together, but I would never say that Dybala is problematic to the way that this team play and that he makes others worse around him. I can only think that he makes players better around him. And Sufyan kind of agrees with me here. If you want to read that comment, if you look at the XG, our attack is compared to the actual goals, you'll see Dybala is the clinical one. And he says, oh, that's Poland. Nice, John. Cool stuff. Rock says not blaming Dybala, more Mourinho for not finding the right combo. Okay, guys. So as I just mentioned, it's going to be a crazy few weeks. I think even Inter is part of that. I'm going to check real quick Roma's schedule. I think Inter might even be the week after. It is. It's May 7th, guys. Roma-Inter at the Stadio Olimpico. And then Bologna. These are a lot of tough matches. And in between that, you've even got a midweek against Monza. And then if you win in the Europa League, you've got the conference or the semifinals. It's not going to be easy. And then Fiorentina. So, there's a lot of tough teams coming up here. I'm going to go off one by one. Atalanta, Milan, Monza, okay, Inter, Bologna, Salernitana, Ochoa Salernitana, Candreva Salernitana, Vilhena, decent midfielder, Fiorentina, and then Spezia. It's tough. So this little 3-point cushion in third, that's everything right now. So today, establishing one of the best, if not the best performance of the season, crucial, guys. Crucial. Look back on this before we duck out of here real quick. And as we wrap things up, I think it's time to hopefully see if there's any comments from Mourinho up. Give me a second to go through these. And I think I might even share as I read the article. And there we go. There's actually something from Pellegrini too. I'm going to pull up. So I'm going to actually take your screen for a second, or not take your screen, but present, I should say. I'm going to share screen. Let's go to Pellegrini's comments first as we look through this. So Pellegrini says, it was important because we had the opportunity to see the result of the other teams and have been working a long time to be up there. It's a great day. And this is from DAZN. There are more games ahead of us. We start thinking about Thursday from now on. And then after that, we can focus on Serie A. I think this team has really made improvements in terms of mentality. It was a choice made by the coach. I was ready to take the penalty, but he told me, considering what had happened and the general moment I was going through, the importance of freeing my mind. He wanted me to not have that weighing on me. I will be ready to take the penalty if I'm needed, the next penalty. Then he speaks about Cristante and hitting the upright and Bove scoring it. And he's asked, how did you feel when the ball hit the back of the net? And he says, I felt free. It had been a while that wasn't happening. I really missed it. People who know and love me said I had to take some of the weight off me and to start experience things with a lighter heart, and I achieved it. The celebration with heart was something my daughter taught me. Probably one of those. But it was also for the whole stadium. I already knew it, but that banner confirmed it. I know in good times and bad, I can always count on their support. Just as they know in good times and bad, they can always count on me to give everything I've got for Roma and for them. It's a very sweet, actually, poetic words here from Pellegrini. One, he acknowledges that he was going through a tough moment and that he now felt a weight lifted off of him. And you know what? If he didn't score that penalty, God forbid, he would be in a really tough headspace, and he definitely doesn't score that goal that he does today. So I just want to make that mark. So I'm very, very proud and happy to read this. This is a good thing from Pellegrini here. I'm going to share this now, this Mourinho one we've got going on here. Okie doke. Speaking to, what do we got here? I'm going to assume Dazen. Yes, it is. And Mourinho says we changed several players from Thursday. Lorenzo and Vinaldum only played 45 minutes. We risked it, but the team, as a team, gave an excellent response. Then scroll a little bit down with me. The result might make it seem as if it was easy, but honestly, I never felt like that until the third goal. Even after Rui saved the penalty, Udinese were the ones pushing into our half. We lowered the pressing, and that is when the fatigue set in. The 3-0 certainly did not feel like the result I experienced on the bench. It sure as heck did not when Rui Patricio was facing that penalty kick, I tell you what. Then he goes on to speak about Pellegrini, and he says he needed to win, to play without any pressure weighing on him for a missed PK or recent performances that were not fantastic. There are reasons for that, and we don't always have to keep telling people that. He has my faith. My decision not to let him take the penalty was simply because he did not need that extra pressure. In fact, I told him, if there's a penalty for 2-0, it is yours. But if it is a decisive one, it's not for you today. Ooh, smart. Jose knows what he's doing. If some comments on social media were negative after Feyenoord, the reality is what we saw today, face-to-face with the fans, understanding we were all together in good times and bad. Then he speaks about these players being born and raised in the capital. And by the way, Zalewski is also from Rome. He is a Polish international through his parents, but he's from Rome. He says, I like to have Italian players at the core. That is the consequence of our economic reality. But it is above all a way for the club to have a strong bond with the youth academy. Modern football is universal. There are many foreign players in all the leagues in the world, but I continue to believe that those who come from here have the specific ability to help the team feel like a family, create that empathy with the fans. True. I think this is one of the reasons why the fans are always with us, whether we play well or badly. Bove scored a goal and was excellent, but I am also cross with him because he made a mistake that if Rui had not saved the penalty could have become very difficult. Yikes. Bove. Better watch him, boy. He said, this is part of the learning process, but I am glad that a Roman and a Romanista scored. Then he comments a little bit further down, speaking about, what is he speaking about? Oh, I guess like the differences compared to Juventus and that is, the Champions League stuff. He always says, I always say, when a coach in a normal club cannot buy any players he wants, he must make the most of the strength and hide the weaknesses as well as possible. Defensive solidarity is our strength. We do not have any players in attack with a real change of pace, so it means we need to press high and recover the ball high. Otherwise, we cannot make that rapid transition. When the energy levels dropped, the intensity dropped. We sat further back and suffered. So he even says it, like, defense is our strength. And we don't have, he says, we do not have players in attack with real change of pace. Nice. He's like, yeah, this is what I got. You see it. I see it. We all know. The result is important, and now we must forget Serie A for a few days and see if it's possible on Thursday to score against Feyenoord, and I believe it is possible. Then he spoke about Dybala and answers, maybe, if Dybala is going to play on Thursday. He says, I am more positive than negative, but it's a maybe. That's probably the truth. I don't think he's playing mind games here. So there we go. Back to me, back to a few comments. Let's get this going here. Can you suggest some Roma podcast in English? Chetan, there's just Roma Press, really. But what I am gonna start doing, I think YouTube actually just made an option for me to do it, is to strip the audio and start making podcasts right from here, which you'll be able to subscribe to if you're interested. But otherwise, there's Chiesa di Totti has one, I know, and my buddy Sam Rubio from Florida, he does one called La Magicast, and those are like the top, the three that are out there right now. I've been on Chiesa di Totti's a few times and Magicast, so fun stuff. Ali says April 19th coming up. We'll finally know about Juventus' situation. True. I feel like I know what's going to happen. I really don't want it to happen. We'll see. Only 2 of those games seem 100% winnable. Sufyan says, I don't think it's too late to think it's too late to think to actually make big improvements. The current problems aren't going to be solved now. We have to clench our teeth and fight. When the season ends, we'll build again. Chetan says, or Marco says, Chetan, don't listen to Roma. I don't want to go there. I'm not touching that, Marco. Paul says, bring on Manchester United. No, keep me away from Man U as far as possible until we get to the final. Roma gets to the final. And Sven, what's up, Sven, says, lovely game today. And Sven says, what an assist from Belotti. 2 hard games coming up after the Feyenoord game. Guys, let's touch base during the week. I just got I'm gonna throw up a couple videos, at least the preview to the Feyenoord game. I might even throw one about my Vespa. I've been working with my Vespa a lot lately, getting my oil change. Might do a spark plug soon, just like stuff. Might take a ride past the New York City skyline too. I got a little chest cam. I'm gonna try that out and see if the footage is any good. So I'll definitely be in touch during the week, posts, shorts, all that stuff. Twitter as well, I'm always active on, and Instagram I have, it's a little bit more personal. I don't advertise like, oh, join my podcast or things like that. It's more just like my life. So I'll see you on there as well. And guys, this has been a really good day, and Roma are playing some of their best football, and it's coming at the exactly perfect time. You're gonna go to Rome anytime soon, hopefully in September. Fingers crossed. We'll see if excuse me, we'll see if that can come to fruition. But we'll talk then. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon. Ciao.